All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and walk through a problem on how you might determine the internal rate of return when we're looking at a private equity type of transaction. So I'll go ahead and read the problem. So we have PI equity, we'll call them Pi, invested in a biotech company, Bio, with $5 million of EBITDA. So let's just make sure that this $5 million right here belongs to the firm, the bio firm. Pi paid $35 million with 30% finance at a rate of 6% over 3 years with level monthly payments. So we want to know that we're going to be dealing with some sort of debt payment, and it's going to be done on a monthly basis. Assume Bio's EBITDA grows by 10% each year, and they exit after 3 years. So we have a 3-year time horizon, and at a 12 times EBITDA multiple. So obviously we're going to ignore any type of tax benefits associated with this, and we want to calculate the IRR for this investment. So when we see problems like IRR, what we need to make sure that we're always thinking about is cash flows. We want to know what's coming in and what is leaving, and then ultimately we're going to determine what the rate of return is that is going to set that net present value equal to 0. That's ultimately what IRR is, okay? Okay, so the first thing that we need to know, or this is how I would look at this. So we have this private equity firm paying $35 million, and they're going to do this in two sleeves. One is they're going to do with equity, and equity is going to be 70% of the 35 million, and debt, so this is equity, and debt is 30% of the 35 million. This is debt. So our equity is going to be 0.7 times 30. Okay, let's just get rid of some of this stuff so I can get some room here. All right, so then we have 0.7 times 35 is 24.5, okay? And then our debt is going to be 0.3 times 30, which is going to be 10.5. Okay, so we have our two different sleeves. So we should know and think about that. This is an outflow. We know that we have to buy into the company, so this is an immediate outflow. So this is an outflow at cash flow 0 time period. And this is going to be an outflow in cash flow 1, years 2, and year 3. Okay, so we know that this is going to be an outflow because we have to pay this debt off over a 3-year period. So let's figure out what that payment is going to be. So to determine our debt payment, we know that we have a present value as equal to negative 10.5 million. Okay, and this is going to be, remember, 10.5 million is what we started with, and we want to then get it paid off. And we can actually keep this as a positive. Our future value is going to be 0. We want that to be paid off. Now, our interest rate is going to be, we're told 6%, but remember, we're looking at this from a monthly basis, and we actually have to convert it to monthly payments because the compounding periodicity is monthly, but then we have to go back to annual payments because we're looking at this on an annual basis. So we're going to take our 6%. So we have our 6%, and we're going to divide it by 12, and we're going to get 0.5, and that's going to be per month. Our N is going to be 3 years times 12 months is 36 months. And let me just pull my calculator up, and I'm going to go ahead and put these values in my time value of money calculator. So I've got 10.5 as my present value, 0 as my future value, 0.5 as my interest rate, 36 as my N, and I'm going to compute my payment. And my payment, so I'm going to compute my payment, and I'm going to get negative 0.3194. And of course it's negative because it is an outflow. Now that is on a monthly basis. I need to multiply that by 12. So my ultimate payment is going to be $3,833 dollars per year. So this is the yearly amount. Okay. Okay, so let's just start working our cash flow statement. So we have cash flow in years 0, our initial cash flow, our cash flow in year 1, year 2, and our cash flow in year 3. Okay. All right. So we know that in our first year, we're going to have our equity payment. So we have negative 24.5 million dollars is going to be in an outflow. Okay. In year two, well, we need to make sure we know our EBITDA growth. Okay. So in year zero, we started with $5 million. In year one, it's going to be 5.5 million because we went 5 million times 1.1. We're growing at 10% each year. Okay. And in year two, we're going to get to 6.05, which will be 5.5 times 1.1. And in year three, we get to 6.655, which is 6.05 times 1.1. Okay, so these are going to be our EBITDA growth values. All right. All right. So then we have our EBITDA, because remember, we just purchased this firm. Okay, we just bought it. So now all of this cash flow is now available to us. So in our year one, we're going to have 5.5, okay, in EBITDA. However, we have to remove our debt payments of 3.83, which is going to leave us, so we've got 5.5 minus 3.83. It's going to leave us 1.67 million in year one. Okay, in year two, we have our EBITDA of 6.05 minus our 3.83. And this is going to leave us, as our 6.05 minus 3.83, 2.22. And in cash flow year three, we actually have 3 right now because we're getting ready to sell off this company at 12 times EBITDA. So the first thing is we get our cash flows, 6.655. We know we're going to take out our last debt payment, 3.83, but we're going to sell this at 6.6 times 12, and this is our exit, 79.20. Okay, we're just going to sell this for 12 times our current EBITDA. So when we sum all of these up, 79.2 plus 6.655 minus 3.83, we get 82.025. Now let me just shrink this up a little bit. So now when we go to our calculator, we're going to put in our cash flow of 0 is negative 24.5. Our cash flow 1 is going to be 1.67, and our frequency will be 1. Our cash flow 2 is going to be 2.22 with our frequency of 1. And our cash flow 3 is going to be 82.025 with our frequency of 0.1. And we will compute our IRR. And when we do that, we get something along the lines of 54.39% or 54%. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that helps just kind of see how these problems are solved. And if you have any questions, let me know.